Welcome, welcome to the Bitcoin Design Guy Jam session number 60, probably the last one for this year. So let's see what we can make out of it. If people are already in holiday mood or not. Um, as usual, I took our document that we use for taking notes, and I just shared it in the chat, and we can put notes in here. I don't think we have a ton going on right now. We have Michael's recovery path PR, which is pretty big. Um, then I started doing some writing on making this contribute page more actionable, something started by Uti, maybe something we can look at. And then we could talk about 2024, or we could talk about stuff like UIKit, BDG wallet, sister projects, or something I always also thought was interesting as I saw the ordinals and inscriptions spamming the chain over the weekend. It kind of became clear, like, if a transaction is $40, then it's just not going to work for a lot of things. And then I thought, well, I just created a page in the guide called a multi-wallet page, and there are a lot of assumptions about using on-chain on there. But what would that page look like if that was just not a thing? Um, if I would rewrite that page, assuming that on-chain is only for the once a year, 3 times a year or so, and everything else has to be off-chain. So I don't know. Maybe there's a conversation there to be had too. What else would you like to chat about?
Bit off topic, but if you have any highlights from the hackathon recently that you can point us to, that'd be fun.
Oh, yeah. So last night, where the winners were announced, which Uti here is one of the winning teams. The third place was Resolver for on-chain justice, and then the second one was, what was the second one? 1010 Finance was the second one, which we know from our design reviews. And then first one was Bitcoin Connect, which, of course, for anyone who's been around, that always brings back some memories. That's it's like Wallet Connect that the Ethereum crowd has had for a few years, but for Bitcoin. And all the teams did a really good job. There's another event at some point this week where they're giving away 4 more prizes. I think those are smaller prizes, but still pretty nice, in different subcategories. I think one for design, one for innovation, one for on-chain, something along those lines. Yeah, I thought it was interesting. There was a bunch of AI stuff, automating AI, and thinking about it a little bit, it kind of makes sense that AI would prefer to use a programmable currency to do stuff. But you can just kind of send stuff back and forth, stream data, fully programmable. So that's kind of cool. The applications were fairly simple, like basic stuff that you can just type in GPT, a Chat GPT or Midjourney or so. Like, it's just an interface for the exact same thing, right? It hasn't really done anything new except you can automate it a little bit. Yeah, so that was an interesting development. I'm curious where that will go over the last couple of years. Johnson last night, he made a good point about the difference between the results hackathon projects today and then 2 years ago when Bolt Fund started. 2 years ago, it was much simpler, where people were just trying to wrap their head around some basic things about making a Lightning payment. And today we have stuff like 1010 or so, or Resolver. The projects have really gotten more complex and sophisticated. So yeah, and it was a nice mix. There were one guy just doing Japanese translations for things. Another group was like a whole team that worked hardcore for just a lot of different things there to see.
Oh, thanks.
Yeah.
That's a good thing to do over the holidays, to check out all the projects I didn't really get to.
Yeah, the one last night was recorded, and I think there were 10 presentations or so. And so just an hour and a half or so, you're going to get the top or the 10 finalists. You can just watch demos, and each had 5 to 7 minutes or so. So you can You can catch up there pretty quickly. Yeah,
Cool.
it's nice. Yeah, so much stuff that can be done there. It's crazy. Yeah, what else?
I don't know. I was in this I'm in this bubble for that Miniscript stuff, so I didn't I didn't really stick my head out into the world out there.
Okay, maybe
But I used the updated Bitcoin UI kit file with with the plugin and the additional colors. It's easy. It's pretty simple to use. It's nice. But I found myself going back to the original theme.
Yeah. The nice
Yeah.
thing is that you, with just 2 clicks, you can go back between all the themes, and you're not destroying anything. It's completely non-destructive, so
Yeah.
you can
It's
very easily.
it's really
Yeah.
really awesome.
And by the way, that's why I pulled this up here in the background. I updated the website as well. So on the Bitcoin UI Kit homepage, there's now this theme picker. So if I want to see, what the dark purple theme looks like, I can click around there. And these things are not images anymore. They're actually coded little components. So you can actually
Nice.
do stuff in there. Kind of. Some of them.
It's very fancy.
Yeah, and that really shows off like what this theming can actually do for you.
Mm.
So yeah, that was fun to do there. Next thing for the UI Kit website will be how-to videos, tutorials, case studies, that type of stuff. Yeah, let me know if you have more feedback on the UI Kit. Would love to hear it. And
Not really. I was able to get, or I basically did most of the stuff using the existing things.
Mm.
I'd have to check some. Yeah.
awesome. So while you're at your stuff, do you want to talk about the state of your PR real quick?
Yeah, let's do that. And I already, thanks for all the comments. I already updated some of it, and I also do one point that we discussed. I think also in a previous call was whether this page should be a kind of a sub page of the savings wallet. Which I did here. So let me share my screen.
Yeah, so for anyone not super familiar with it, this is about using. Michael's really working on Miniscript use cases, and the previous iteration of this PR was really big with a very expansive use case, and we thought let's split it up, and this is kind of the first part of it where it's a very simple use case. So you set up a multi-key wallet, and there's basically one feature where if you don't use it, like let's say you lose 2 out of the 3 keys, which typically means you're locked out, but there's actually a extra recovery mechanism in there where after 6 months of inactivity, you only need 1 key to sign, and that way you can get to your funds. And it's about this, where that fits in the guide, and what's on the page.
Yeah, exactly. And since it's basically a variant of the savings wallet, it's probably really the best idea to have it as a kind of a sub page, especially if I'm planning to add another kind of related use case. So I think this grouping makes sense. I mean, it's actually it can be used for anything, right? But you have to pick a use case, and kind of the more advanced stuff lives in Figma for now. It's but it builds again. It will build on this page. So that means it should be then a bit smaller than this page here. So so that we don't kind of have everything redundant. So that's kind of the plan.
But there's
And
sorry, go ahead.
yeah, and then so that's kind of the more structural thing, how it fits into the guide, and then there are some valid points that you raised in your review about one thing that I really didn't consider is kind of the, let's say, collaborative generation of the wallet, or the creation, which is not represented here yet. So basically the point is that in this PR here, basically one user creates the wallet and activates all the signers and signing devices and stuff, and then basically just gives one to his wife. But the point raised was that they should do it together, right? So that the wife can be sure that the husband didn't do anything improper. So yeah, that's I think a very valid point, and I don't know whether it is that way, or whether that's addressed in the savings wallet reference design. Now that I think about
So
it,
the savings wallet, it is multi-key, but it's designed for a single person to use. So the person has a key on the device. They have one hardware wallet, and then there's this the service provider has the third one for where they basically do blind signing. So the shared wallet is the one where multiple people collaborate. So actually, maybe your page is actually better as a subpage of the shared wallet, because it does have that collaborative element to it.
True.
And I was actually, afterwards, after I was looking at your PR, I was actually wondering, you could almost, if you think about it, you're kind of working on the shared wallet. It's almost like what you're doing is the shared wallet reference design. You're kind of redoing it in a way, and you're adding the multi-key, the recovery path. So maybe you could actually update the shared wallet page while you're. Sorry, that makes it a lot bigger. Again, but if the page that you have, if you actually say, if you're saying you're just dealing with this part about having extra recovery option that's time based, you could almost ignore the initial key generation, and you could ignore some of the backup stuff, because you're just dealing on if you really just want to narrow in on this one feature, and then work on the shared wallet. Sorry, lots of options probably makes it overly complicated.
No, it's a good point, but yeah, you probably could do that. But I mean, you can also have a savings wallet that is.
I think you should finish your page as is, and then we just make updates later.
Yeah, and maybe we, at a later point, we just strip out some sections from it and move them somewhere else. And yeah, I'll finish it, because I think I'm pretty close.
Yep.
And then we can still decide where to put it, and whether we want to really flesh out this shared wallet a bit more.
Yeah. Yeah, and the other part in that page was key rotation, which might also be a separate topic, because it's not key rotation is not really related to this recovery option, but it's something good.
Exactly. So that's maybe something that could be removed. also the kind of this backup part, like you mentioned, it's just here for completeness, basically. But it could be so, yeah. So this is something that could be removed probably. And one maybe more fundamental misunderstanding that I have, but I'm not sure, is recovery.
Mhm.
So and maybe you guys can help me understand this, but let's say I have 3 devices. I have a Trezor, a Coldcard, and a BitBox. My Trezor gets destroyed, but I have my seed phrase. I buy a new Trezor, enter the seed phrase. Can I use this new device because it has the same private key and everything on it with
Yeah.
the existing wallet?
Yeah, unless
Right.
there's some difference in the derivation path or something else, right?
Yeah.
But generally, if everything uses the same standard settings there, then yeah.
Yeah, my sense is that you would not be able to immediately use it because you also need the descriptor for the wallet.
For the multi-key wallet or for
Yeah, yeah, for the wallet altogether, because it like has
Yeah.
the other expubs and all of that stuff.
yeah, I mean sometimes I think it's called the multi-key wallet coordination file.
Yeah.
Right,
That
something like that
was-
it's called, but it's the
Yeah.
descriptor. Yeah.
Yeah, so what I understood is that the descriptor is used to kind of generate addresses and keys for signing and these kind of things. But it has, I'm still not sure what the difference is between the file and the descriptor, or if everything that is in the file is also in the descriptor, or if it's just the subset.
There are 2 different formats of kind of the same thing. You can put that information in a file or you can put it in a descriptor, but it's just the XPubs and how you kind of mash them together to generate your addresses from for your multi-sig wallet.
But if I understand it correctly here, what you've described, Michael, would not be a key rotation because the key that's connected to the multi-sig as a signer remains the same. But some of the work the user needs to do is similar because they still need to sort of reconnect or re-enable this new hardware wallet, even though that wallet has already been recovered with the same phrase. They still need to enable it to sign by, in effect, I don't know what the user actually needs to do here, but like import the descriptor or that file with the information.
Yeah. So what I understand is that, of course, if it's a different private key, then you have to create a new wallet because it's a new signing key. But if it's the same, then you have to, after kind of importing the private key on the device, you would then have to get the wallet policy onto the device somehow, right? That's what I refer to here with simply by pairing the device. Yeah. So you have these 2 steps, right? If you want to recover the wallet.
Yeah.
But
can I ask a nerdy question about that? So is it actually imported on the device itself, or is it in the software? So say, if it's a ledger, is this happening on the ledger itself or on the ledger software on my computer or with Trezor or a similar thing?
I mean, if it's a ledger, it's really happening on the ledger servers.
Yeah, I know you're jesting, but no, I'm just curious because I know that there are sort of apps on the hardware, right? is the file or the descriptor actually known by the device itself, or is that information prepared by the software and the hardware literally just signs?
So you have to. I don't know if it's actually imported to the device. I can create a new multi-sig wallet here on my Spectre. But what I have to do is I have to check the entire policy on the device itself and approve it on the device. But I don't. When I approve it, I don't know what happens then. Whether it gets kind of saved somewhere, or whether it. Yeah, that's what I don't know.
And when you say approving the policy, is that
Well, I mean,
when you set up a new wallet, or even when you pair it, like you say again?
When you pair it for the first time, then you basically scroll through the entire descriptor. I think that it is this descriptor, so you have to scroll through it until the end to check that all the pub keys match and the derivation path, and then you say okay, approve, and from then on, this signing device can sign transaction for that wallet.
without the wallet configuration, the wallet does not know if the addresses that it's supposed to sign for are actually addresses that this private key has any control over. So I would assume that it needs to know the wallet configuration. So basically all the XPubs and how to merge.
It definitely needs to know that, but that means probably that this information then has to be saved on the device, right?
Mhm.
Yeah.
So
So again, the question is whether this this section here is actually in the right place, because it's a very I mean, it's probably more in the this is a general behavior, right? So if you if I run into this problem that I just need to replace a hardware device, but I still have the key, but I just want to replace it. This goes for any multi-key wallet. It's not just for this one. So maybe this kind of these sections here should go in the somewhere else in the shared wallet.
yeah, I would just leave it on here because we know we want to redo the shared wallet. Been on the list for a long time. So then we can move things. They're good sections, what you have here. I would just
Cool.
leave them.
Yeah, then I'll get this over the finish line here and then pick up the shared wallet as the next step after Christmas.
Yeah, what does everyone think of this term time-based recovery? Terms are, of course, a notorious thing, but it's basically telling the user, well, here's this features. Do you want to use that? And you could call it recovery path is very generic. It doesn't really hint at what it is. Time-based recovery hints at like there's a time element, and it's about like recovery like in case there's an issue. It's not the most obvious, but it's more precise.
It's definitely better.
Mhm.
Yeah, so I think one question that at least I would have is why do I need to like recover anything?
Well, Yasros, you probably don't because you're such a conscientious person. You just keep really good track of your things, but other people might. But yeah, Michael, you have that. You have some of these explainers in your UI. Maybe you can share.
Yeah, but let me go to Figma probably. Here.
But it says right at the top of the page, it says in case the two people, in case two keys get lost, that they can still get their funds. Right? It's that simple.
Yeah, it basically adds additional fault tolerance right? So you can afford to lose more keys than just one in a 2 of 3. Um, so that's one. That's just one use case, but you could also have completely different key sets. So you could have an initial 2 of 3, and after 6 months, if you don't spend anything, it could activate a different 2 of 3. But that's more kind of probably a company or an organizational use case than for normal people. But yeah, that's kind of. Or you could have just an emergency key that activates where it's just a one of one.
It's like
It's basically
a full key, yeah.
Yeah. So I didn't mean to sound cheeky or whatever. Like, I was just curious about the fact that under the diagram that you had in the previous page, like basically, if you have a 2 of 3, and then you have a 1 of 3, and then you have a single key setup, it means that every 6 months you will basically have to transfer your funds to a new wallet, because otherwise the other user will be able to transfer them with just one key, right?
Yeah.
And you don't want that, and so the users might not understand that, and that.
no, it's actually you don't transfer the funds to new wallets. It just basically it means that whenever you get close to
A new address, not a new wallet, essentially.
exactly. So basically, whenever let's say whenever you get close to this recovery path being unlocked, what you do is, and this is another
Yeah.
topic, but basically you just need to refresh the time lock, and you do that by creating a self transfer to a new address in the same wallet. So and then the timer starts again. And in this case, if you hit refresh all, it creates a kind of a refresh transaction. And in the end, you have only one UTXO because you sent everything back into the wallet, into a new address, and the timer starts again. And yeah, so the kind of the concept of UTXOs is, or coins, I called them coins in this reference design, is probably also pretty challenging, but yeah, that's how it works. So you don't send it to a new wallet.
Right. Yeah. So I was wrong about that. That's right. And like the users, but like we will have to tell the users that you have to do it every 6 months,
Or every year,
right?
whatever you set it to.
Because
Yeah,
like they will have to sign the transaction, right? So they will. So like, I'm almost thinking it might become like a ceremony that like you have to go through regularly, and then you would probably have to do like consolidation of everything. Otherwise you will like have to keep doing these signing ceremonies at like random times almost. So when
yeah,
you just consolidate everything, and then the timer restarts for everything.
yeah. That's
I mean,
that's exactly what we do here. When you reset this recovery path, what we do is you have at the beginning you have 3 UTXOs that expire at different times, the time locks, and at the end you have only one. So basically, whenever you refresh this thing, you do UTXO consolidation.
Right. So, Michael, now that I think about it, guys, I don't want to talk out of school, but aren't there like two different issues? So this one is about the UTXO time blocks, and the other issue is about the the number of keys required to sign. Like, are these separate issues, or they are kind of the same issue? Or are we saying
Um,
that it's one of three single key applies to every single UTXO separately? I would assume that it would apply to all of the UTXOs. No?
no,
Okay, got
no,
it.
they are, and I mentioned this here, right? The time locks are not applied on the wallet level, but on the UTXO level, which is challenging to to keep track of. So the idea would be that for this reference design, the application basically manages the complexity for you, and whenever the nearest UTXO would be kind of when the time lock for the nearest time lock for the nearest UTXO expires, you would refresh not only the time lock for this one, but for all the others as well, so that you don't have to, if you have three UTXOs, and so that I don't have to reset one this week, one next week, and
Yeah.
the week after that. So we basically um, have kind of a unified time lock reset experience, which also does UTXO management, which could also be beneficial for consolidation.
I mean, think about it this way: if it was wallet level based, then whenever a transaction is being verified to see if it can actually be spent, like that script that does it would have to know about the whole wallet and all other transactions that are done in this wallet to see, like, oh no, this wallet did another transaction 2 months ago. Like, I cannot spend this, right? But that's not possible to know because we create all these different addresses and all of this stuff. So it's just not knowable at the time of evaluations. So you can kind of check, like, what's the policy, and then how long ago was this transaction or this UTXO, when was that created, and then you can evaluate it based on that. But you cannot do this evaluation based on like totally different UTXOs on addresses that are just not knowable, like because of good privacy practices and whatnot. Yeah, that's why it's on a UTXO level, I think.
This is so fascinating. I think you are doing an awesome job at this. Because this is so, at least to my brain, this like confused me a couple of times. Sorry, a couple dozen times. Every time I read it, I feel like I understand something different, and you are like creating designs and everything for it. Yeah, this is awesome. I'm going to read through the whole thing, and yeah, I'll drop any feedback for sure. This is awesome stuff.
Thanks. Yeah, I feel oh, no, my experience with this is that I feel like a fly. You always hit your head somewhere. At some point, you just want to get out of the room. but yeah, it's a complicated topic. I mean, we saw it when I was working on the How It Works page for this. So I also reference this page at the top because it's actually before you read through the design, it might make sense to go to the kind of How It Works page.
Awesome.
Check out something I was just thinking about, and I'll share the link here. Is in the Daily Spending Wallet set security page, we have this idea of security checklist, where every 6 months or so it tells you, maybe you want to double check, or your funds have increased a lot, maybe you want to upgrade, or maybe you want to change your limits, or make sure your backup's still okay. And so this reminder about the refreshing your time log feels like something that could go into this security checklist as well. It's just part of your good habits, good practices, maintenance, and occasionally you get these reminders like, hey, here's something you should be doing at the right now.
Yeah. Yeah, yeah. I have to. That's. Um, I have actually the kind of these reminders built into the flow
Mm.
for creating this recovery path, where I hope the screen is big enough. If not, I can zoom in a little bit. Why can I not zoom in? So basically, in these screens here, you see that I have one reminder that reminds me like 7 days before,
Mm.
or I could add additional ones, and that's kind of the mechanism which I thought of for this reference design. But yeah, a checklist could be something as well, and then have reminders based on that checklist.
Yeah, take a look at the security page. There's a thing about reminders and recommendations. Yeah, I don't think you necessarily have to update your design, your page before finalizing everything. We could. It's fine. We have some different mechanisms in there if we consolidate them later or so.
Cool. Yeah, I mean, yeah. We can also say it lives in the settings. We can always
Yeah.
go to settings. I mean, that would have been the idea anyway, that these reminders, you could change them in the settings sections, because these are not, the reminders are not, nothing on chain. That's just the application that does that. Is the reminder, so you can easily change these. What you cannot change is you cannot turn off the recovery path after the wallet has been created.
Yep.
So any of these things you can't update, but the reminders can be updated.
Yeah, it's quite complex. All this stuff. So we have about 20 minutes left. Do you want to stay on this one or look into some other topics?
Let's move on.
Okay. Okay. Then this other one that I had put on the topics for today was something that Uti started, and so there's this issue we have here. Uti started a document. Let me see if I can open this in browser. Nope, I cannot. Let's see. Can I drag it into a browser? Yep. So it's like a getting started page here that is like our contribute page in a way, where we're trying to tell people what this is all about, how we work, how to get involved, how to find projects. But I think it could use a revision. And so Uti did some writing here, and his approach was more like a guide, another guide. Yeah, sorry, Uti. You'll have to check out the recording. So there are different milestones here, and each one takes you a little bit further into your journey in Bitcoin design and open source and design contributions. So at the beginning, it says, build connections. His idea was that you duplicate this document, and then you kind of keep it as your own personal list of accomplishments. And then it tells you join the Discord, introduce yourself, tell a design joke. Milestone 2 is sync the calendar, attend a call, start reading the design guide. Milestone 3 is maybe you're getting ready to start working on an issue. Milestone 4, you're actually contributing something, and on and on. And I took a stab at rewriting this a little bit. So that's this page here. So it's just a bit longer. Mo already gave some feedback. So there are several milestones in here, and it's more casually written. Like hopefully it's less intimidating than So I go to GitHub, clone repo, all this type of stuff. Just expanding and explaining some of the terms, like what's a contribution, how to stay up to date. Milestone 2 is an exploring. Here's some stuff you can do. And in exploring, I also added a section about you should actually try some applications, like download Blue Wallet, set up an on-chain wallet, do the backup, make a transaction, try a Lightning wallet, get an LB account, which they just went invite only, so that doesn't work. Tip someone on Discord, just get people to explore a little bit. And then the third one is tune in, which is joining some type of call or meeting. Fourth one was about getting you to contribute in some way, more like reviewing, giving feedback, maybe a design review call or so. Then milestone 5 is becoming a regular. That's where you start more regularly contributing. Milestone 6 is you actually lead some efforts. Could be a sub-project, could be something more. And then at milestone 7, it's a lifestyle. And at milestone 5, 6, and 7, there's also, hey, check out the Bitcoin Design Foundation. Once you're leading something, consider funding more seriously. And these are not really written out; they're more like bullet points here, 5, 6, and 7. And then if you're still not done yet, here's a bucket list, like do some super world-changing stuff, and just trying to be a bit goofy there as well. Just give people lots of different activities and things that they can do and make them feel okay about where they are, right? Also stating that you don't have to become the ultra sage power contributor, right? It's cool if you're just regularly helping review things or so. And then at the bottom, adding some more resources. So that's kind of it. So, I don't know, is that too hand-holdy in this whole thing, or?
No, what I like especially about this is that it's very practical. It gives you ideas about what to do. Like creating an icon for the Bitcoin UI kit is probably not the first thing that people or something that you would consider, but you'd say, hey, yeah, why not? So it's I like that.
Uti had something in here that I wanted to mention. At some point, he had consider your why. Like, why do you care about Bitcoin? Like, why do you want to do this? So I thought that was nice reflective things. I couldn't think of any more like that. Maybe that's just me. But I thought that was a nice things to put in there as well. Like, why do you care? What do you want to achieve?
When listening to this, I was wondering if there's anything we could do in Discord as well to make it a bit fun and game. If you can kind of get some kind of I guess they call them roles or something in Discord. If you could kind of actually get sort of something, if you have done one of these milestones, and we can somehow offer someone a little yeah, exactly. But it's actually an off-chain ordinal, so they just get a
could be an
emoji in their Discord. It's a promise of a future ordinal.
Yeah. Now it could be a Nostr badge, or we have some rules. We have a bit of an onboarding in Discord set up, some basic stuff like who are you, what you do, some very basic stuff. But yeah, that could probably also be tied into this.
Yeah, that was the only thing. If because what you listed out there, it's, I mean, like everything else we do, it's driven by you. You have, the person has to drive it. No one else drives it for you. But if there was some sort of tie-in, at least where you can get a little bit of encouragement, or some proof that other people can see as well that you have put some effort in. you're on the way.
It's a good one. Yeah, Noster badges come to mind.
Mhm.
Is Noster on the list here? I might have missed that, but
I don't think it is.
I'm not. No, so that I'm not. I'm bad myself in that regard. I'm not on Noster every day or very often, so it's. But I guess Noster is the more ethos correct place to get a badge.
Yeah, but that's one of the things we can put that in this list. Try out these different things, like do a zap on, get a lightning address, do a zap over here, do something else over there, and we can create. I do still hope we can kind of create a Fedimint at some point. We can ask people to join that one, play around there. So there could be all kinds of. Yeah, and maybe not everyone wants to get a Noster badge, but that's okay too. Right? But we have to pick something.
You have to claim it anyway, right? So I mean,
You have to
even
approve
if
it.
Yeah. So if you don't want it, just don't approve it.
Yeah, so I think with this document, I think it'd be cool to get some more input, different ideas, and maybe you can reflect on your own journey, how that was for you, and what what the first thing was that you personally contributed to, or what got you excited over the hump to do certain things. What were the friction point were you in other things? I think that'd be great. Yeah, is this editable? Yeah, I think I did share it. Share it again.
Yeah, I really like it, and I like it. I like that many of these suggestions are very lightweight and not, some small things that you can do, and it doesn't take probably days in one setting. You can just do something here or there. So I like the kind of the scope of it, but I'll have a more detailed.
Or maybe visually, there can also be some things mixed in.
Yeah.
Cool. Yeah. Sorry. Unfortunate that Uti couldn't. His connection was too bad or not good enough today to participate. He said that Google Meet and some other tools work better for him than Jitsi. He's in Nigeria, I think.
Interesting. I sometimes have problems with Jitsi when I use VPN. But
Yeah, Jitsi is good 90% of the time for me, but it does tend to have 10% of times when there's some audio stuff, mostly for me. And Google tends to work those times. So yeah, I don't know. It might be that they have less edge infrastructure or whatever it's called to make sure these things work properly. It does work really well for everything else though, without signups and bloat.
So we have 7 minutes here left to the hour. That went by pretty quickly. So when should we do our next one? January 8, January 15? January 8 would be in 3 weeks. 15 would be in 4 weeks. The 8th, everyone's probably back in action, huh?
yeah,
Will be interesting.
Then everyone, I always forget what all the stuff we left off before Christmas. So maybe it's good to just do it on the 8th and then
exactly, and then get to full speed on the fifth on the next one afterwards.
yeah. Okay, so I'll schedule next one. Yeah, what else would you like to chat about?
I wanted to update. It's a Figma question. I tried to publish this time-based recovery reference design to the community, but I can't because it's based on a community file. Is there a way to circum? Yeah, I couldn't so they said you cannot republish it.
So I don't know if that's still a thing, but there used to be a thing called remix, and I think that's what that was meant for. So if you're duplicating community file and then publishing it, it still gets published under your account, but it shows up as a remix of this other file. So even if someone looks at it, they can see that it's originated from another file. But I'm not sure that ever really took off. Maybe they changed how it works. So it doesn't give you an option at all.
It showed me a log sign, and then now that I want to retry it, I get an infinite loader. Don't know why, but yeah, it wouldn't let me publish it.
Yeah, I mean, it's probably a spam prevention mechanism.
Share. Oh, now here we go. Publish. And this is what I see. You cannot republish a file duplicated from the community. That's what it says.
Weird, there used to be this remix thing, and they used that for their own conferences too, where they could create this batch template, you duplicated it, and then you published it again with like, your personal details and stuff.
I could try to duplicate my duplication and see whether that would work.
Yeah. Maybe
to do a real hack and just like copy paste everything and see if they have any detection for that. But I mean,
it doesn't
you have more
work.
experience here, so
it doesn't really work.
Okay.
Let's say because of the component linkage. So
yeah, I see.
The components will still link to the original file, and then you end up in a huge mess.
I wonder if there's a way for. I mean, obviously, it would be better if Michael could publish it, but I wonder if that
this
does
one
not.
I can publish. This one I can publish. I just had to do
a copy of
Okay.
a copy of a copy is okay.
Yeah, it's weird.
Yeah.
But okay, I'll just publish this one, or not publish. I wanted to put it into the editor's note in the page. So that's how that's why I came up with the question.
Yeah, you can just put in a regular share link. It doesn't even have to be published, but that's up to you.
Yeah, no, I think this might be good if it's published because it's quite extensive.
Yeah.
All right. Thanks for the help session here, the support Figma support session.
Yeah. So, are you excited to take a break off the guide for a few weeks, or are you going to? Are you gonna secretly keep working?
No, actually, I want to. After I finish this one, I want to work on the second, the more advanced thing, as long as I remember stuff for the rest of the week. And it's already. So I basically took what I had, and here I'm just playing around with different variations of stuff. So I want to clean that up, and it's. I'm thinking about what use case to use, and maybe use a more corporate or kind of company use case where you have some kind of let's say emergency policies, right? Where you have a CEO, a CTO, and the CFO who normally sign transactions, but you always also have maybe a recovery key set, which is completely different for kind of emergencies in case something happens to this one.
Yeah.
But but that would be much more complicated. That's why the file looks like it does. And the question is, should that be in the guide? Something kind of complex like this.
Yeah, why not? I mean, so I guess starting from the top, you're showcasing the time lock and the capability that the required keys change. Those two things you're showcasing. What you're not showcasing in the one you're working on is that there can be a completely different set of keys. So that would be something to discuss in this more complex reference design.
Exactly.
And build a use case around that. I mean, the you started this whole thing with inheritance, right? So you could build it around that, where let's say the
True.
what is the person, the heir? No, the person that dies.
Yeah.
Is it the heir?
The person who gets the money is the heir. Yeah.
The person that dies and dishes out the money is the, I don't know.
Is the
Whatever.
It's the dead guy.
It's the what?
Sorry, it's a joke. I'm saying that's the dead guy. Because
So the dead guy has his own keys, and he also sets up like 3 extra keys for his 3 children and his wife, or so, or 2 children and his wife, or something. So there are some keys, he has keys that work and that he can use, or she can use, whatever. And then there's a secondary set of keys that then is doled out before this person passes away, but these keys are not usable yet. And then after this happens, then you could set up the complex thing where after 1 year they can get to 1 Bitcoin, after 2 years they get to another Bitcoin, because things unlock over time or so. Maybe you could instead of going the corporate route, stick with the inheritance family route, and create a very sad story about a family that doesn't really get along, and so dad or mom tries to control because the kids are wasteful and doesn't trust them.
Yeah, that's a good idea. I was planning to do that on top, but maybe I can do it instead of.
Yeah, your call.
Yeah, but no, that's actually a good idea. So basically, what I had in mind, more or less, is or to illustrate the concept, is that basically you have maybe a 3 or 5 primary key set, and then this basically this first recovery here is the same use case that we have in the current one. So you use the same keys as in the primary, and then in emergency you have kind of an additional key set. So that would be the mechanism there, but it takes more thought.
Yeah, that's probably a really good thing to flesh out first, so you don't create out the page and then realize you want to change it, and then you have to redo the page or so.
Oh, yeah. I was redoing it anyway all the time. But I have now I have kind of 100 different variations of it, so it's going to be much more efficient next time.
It's more puzzle piece. You have the puzzle pieces more than you need for your puzzle. Just put them together.
Yeah. Also reference design for how you edit or how you set up the key schemes. These kind of how to set up a 2 or 3 or 3 or 5 or X of Y. So I'm going to keep hacking on this probably over the holidays, but in a reduced capacity.
Yeah. Awesome. Yeah. So we're at the hour. Anything else, or should we just kind of wrap things up for today? If you have time to give feedback, Michael, do you want more feedback at this moment, or do you want to first tweak things?
For this moment not, but I'm gonna probably ping you for one other comment that you had that I'd like to clarify, but because I don't get it really. So, but we can do that offline or separately.
Okay. Off-chain.
Off-chain layer 2.
3, 4. So real quick, like 5 years. What are we gonna do if an on-chain transaction's $50 or euros? Like, what are we gonna do? Are we just gonna hop back and forth between Fedimint and Lightning? Is that it? Are you gonna have all this multi-sig stuff on there?
Probably.
Yeah, I mean, it's not going to work, right? I mean, our goal is to get this to mainstream adoption, and if one transaction is at those levels, yeah, then most of what we're doing is not going to work. So, what are the options? I mean, Lightning is one option, but it's also tied to those fees, right, for opening channels and stuff. So. Yeah, I'm thinking, I'm hoping that someone smarter than me comes up with some other options. Because, yeah, or everybody has to get so rich that $50 a transaction is peanuts. I don't know.
Let's do that. That sounds good.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I think something else that might happen is that the Fed can inflate so much that $50 is nothing now. Everyone has that for every transaction, you know. So
8 billion people.
number go up.
Yeah, everyone
It's
just
definitely magic money.
yes.
Yeah, I don't know what to do. I will just do what I can do, which is keep building stuff on top of the tech. But yeah, the tech might need some improvement too.
Yeah. Yeah, I think that'd be a cool one to I don't know, do some forward-looking design exploration on.
Yeah, maybe we could invite someone who has a bit of the deeper tech stack knowledge and ask them stupid questions. I'm good at that.
Yeah. I mean, if Frost really works nicely for everybody, then basically you can set up these multi-sig wallets and do these time locks without without transactions, probably.
Mhm.
Or maybe so that could solve the thing, but still you would still spend only then when it makes sense to take the cost.
Cool. We're not going to figure it out this year. Let's put it that way.
Let's do that on the 8th.
But yeah, and if you have time to review this document for the contribute page, that'd be also awesome. And otherwise, then thanks for joining.
Happy holidays, everybody.
Stop the recording.
Yep, have a good break.
Thanks for tuning in, everyone. We'll stop the recording.